If it's knowledge, humour, or a different perspective that you seek, look for the wisdom in the words that we speak. Words and wisdom. We'll let you decide.
Hello and welcome to Words and Wisdom, or welcome back if you're a listener. The podcast where we break down the constraints of society's conditioning and hopefully give you some tools and techniques to go away and deal with your trials and tribulations in life.
This is the podcast where we claim to be experts in nothing at all other than the field of ourselves, and with that we aim to help you. So Zach, today we are talking about...
Today, Mikey, little rundown of the podcast. At first we're going to be talking about just about how, kind of your life's going at the minute. Because there's a few lessons in that in itself. So we'll be talking about sort of progress, regress, and plateau as well. When you're not having to make progress or you're not going backwards and you just sat on a nice level playing field, which will lead us into goals and goal setting and why goal setting is so important. Having a why. I know we've mentioned it before a couple of times, but I do feel like it needs to be continuously brought back up in my life, in myself. I always have to remind myself of why I'm doing something. So, hopefully bringing it back up in the podcast will help the listeners. And we're going to go over to addiction, hopefully transition smoothly. So yeah, goals, and by the way, addiction, which I'm sure we can link up and relate somehow.
I think it will, mate, actually, because from this story, the reason of why I was saying to you, I'm in a much better place, man, is because I transcended from not such a good place for a little while.
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos place. And do you know what it was? It was a feeling of my old addictions sort of bearing back inside of me.
Explain that.
So, we have had an episode on addiction. I don't know what number it is, guys, but you can go back through the archive and find it. And I'm somebody that's always had an addictive personality. So I've had we've gone through my childhood, but a lot of disrupt in there. That disrupt led on to seeking validation and wanting people to accept me and love me and care about me in my life through a lack of love throughout my life. So in that, I've noticed when my life is in struggle or just too fast-paced or I can't handle it, I get these feelings emerging again of, I need to feel validated. I need somebody to care about me. I need somebody to tell me I'm good. So I did for a recent while. I was scrolling through my phone. I was uploading a lot more than I upload again. I was wanting people to comment on my music. People weren't commenting. I was feeling bad on that. I was comparing to other people then. And it just got into a little bit of a vicious cycle and a trap again. But luckily for me, I have got a kind partner who's got a good heart. And she sort of noticed it upon me, and I could actually have a great conversation with her. And she's saying, well, what do you need? What can we do to help facilitate this? So we just had to sit back, thought about why my life was in a bit of chaos, why I wasn't feeling in a comfortable position, what was happening. And we just took that time to reflect.
Why would you say your life was in a bit of chaos? What would you say was going on?
I didn't have the structure. So I'd be waking up elusive in the mornings. I didn't know.
What do you mean, waking up elusive?
Elusive is sort of wishy-washy. I wasn't going to the gym. Wasn't even thinking about brushing teeth.
Okay.
Because Chris has now got structure in her life. So she's going to work. She has that in order. She has a time frame there. She knows after work she's going to do this. Then she gets back for baby. It's kind of in order. Which is good, yeah. But sometimes you can get trapped with it as well. You can just not be able to come outside of that spectrum or box. For me, I got up, I had to look after baby for the time for a couple of hours, but then I've also fighting a demon of, I've got loads of edits to do though. I need to accept that I've got baby now and I need to look after her until I can go and take her to grandma's or great grandma's or wherever. But then I'm sort of trying to feed her. I'm trying to get a little bit of stuff done, just uploading at least or something like that. Then I go and take her over to grandma's. I'd sort of maybe try and have a cup of tea, have a breather. I was really tired. I'd rush back home. I'd try and edit. do I go to the gym now? I'm not sure I can fit it in. Nah, forget it. I'll just do edits. Do you know what I mean? It was just.
How did you fix that, and what did you implement into your morning? Have you now got a morning routine, or was it a perspective that you had to fix?
Bit of both, mate. Great question as well. I just sat there and I said, I need to have this formula in my day. I know that's a part of me that I've been self-aware to, and every time it's slipped, I've felt this way. So we bought a whiteboard. I write down the whiteboard.
Recommend
do you know what?
anyone listening. Recommend a whiteboard.
If you could just say, right, all life problems, get yourself a whiteboard.
And here's just to interrupt. Keep that thought in mind. If you've got anything going on in life, or you're really stressed in life about a multitude of things, whether it's family, relationship, business, body, here's what I like to do: is dissect the whiteboard into 4 segments. Write what's stressing you out at the top of each segment. So, for example, relationship, business, body, family, and then write down underneath exactly what it is that's stressing you out. And then for each one, try and come up with or ask yourself, what could I do to minimize or to solve this? And it will all come out. Once it's all there on the whiteboard, it's out of your head, you can just relax and you can actually finally see a way out. So, yeah, back over to you, Mikey.
I love that as well. And it is, you can think I'll say this word wrong, compartmentalizing it in your head. So you think, oh, I know what I'm doing. But again, actually having it in front of you that you can look at and visually see that you're ticking things off, that helps so much.
So powerful.
It is so powerful. So, yeah, we got a whiteboard. I've started writing down my days to the T of I'm going to go to the gym here. I've got a podcast here. Edits are here. Baby time's here. And I just feel so complete in that. And I am allowed to veer off slightly if I feel, but I've done this now and baby time can come a little bit sooner, or whatever it needs to be. One feeds into another. But as long as by the end of the day I've ticked off everything I wanted to get accomplished and it was tangible, I feel absolutely electric from it. So that side of my nature and life now just feels in order. I tell you another thing which is as good as the whiteboard: your house. Just having my bedroom tidy, having the kitchen ready, having everything as I like it. Dude, I didn't realise how in my subconscious it was affecting me. Knockoff effects and byproducts of just feeling uncomfortable here, so you let that slip, and then it's a very vicious cycle very quickly if you allow it to be. So me and Chrissy spent a day getting the house absolutely spotless to how we like it and how we're comfortable. Mm-hmm. All my clothes are exactly where I like it, hung up and everything. And genuinely, I think they're my 2 big ones today. They're my 2 elements where I've gone, I feel so happy in my palace, in my temple. I feel zen there. I can actually concentrate on everything I want to get done. And I actually know what I'm going to get done because it's in front of me. Yeah,
man. Back to the cleaning. These are 2 positives you get out of cleaning. The first one is actively. I'm pairing words up today, bro. I'm trying to make it short for you guys. I'm actively. You actually actively achieve a task for the day. Okay, so you've got something done. It feels good, just like when you tick that thing off your whiteboard. But also, 3 things. Then the second thing for cleaning is that you're physically moving. So you're stimulating all the serotonin, all the dopamine, you're stimulating all the feel-good hormones, your lungs are working, your heart's working, you're pumping blood around the body, you're burning calories. And then obviously once you complete it, you can, like you say, you sit there and you're like, oh, it feels good to be in a tidy, clean, what's the word?
Environment?
Organised environment. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, whiteboard and cleaning, get them 2 done.
I mean, yeah, it's just a good substitute because I feel for me, and this is about knowing who you are, how you operate, if I'm in a bad part of my psyche, I go to bad parts of my nature. And as I was alluding to, I'm swiping down my phone. There's seek for validation on things that I'm doing, not getting anything. Oh, here's some bums.
Cheeks.
Oh, maybe just mute that, Mikey. Yeah, but
unfollow that, mate.
Yeah.
And unfollow the cheeks, bro.
But in my life, I'm like, yeah, but what else is making me feel good at the minute? So
I want to actually, because I see this is how I see or I've seen your life, should I say, is you went through a period of super productivity, like You were so busy. You didn't have much structure to it, but you was very, very busy from morning till night. You was editing. You had people around. You was talking to people. Podcasts. They're an hour and a half, 2 hours long a piece. There's only 12 waking hours in the day, really, or maybe 14, 16 waking hours in the day. But you get my point. You was going to the gym. You was doing this. You was doing that. And you achieved a lot. You built a lot. You finally hit 1,000 subscribers on your Old Farm Bus, so well done for that, mate.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
I constantly see content being posted, and yeah, it's easy to post, but it's not easy to create the content, to think, what do I need to post? Okay, now I've got to write what I need to write. It takes time to think, it takes time to put together, it takes time to type the actual type and make sure it's all right. And it actually takes balls to sit there and post something that people might not like and you might get rejected for. So you've been so busy. And this is relative to my journey, and I think most other people's journeys, is you go through periods of life where it's productivity, chaos, and burnout, and you're exhausted. And because you're working so hard, you're exhausted, your brain's asking you for dopamine or some kind of escapism. It's like, I need something. And I find this in myself after doing 20, 30, 40 check-in calls on a Friday and a Saturday. After Friday, Saturday, I want some alcohol, I want cheesecake, and my brain's like, oh, porn, masturbation. I'm like, no, why? Why am I feeling like this? Well, because you've worked so hard that your brain's asking for a reward.
I love your honesty. I love it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then I think after the period of chaos and productivity, you get kind of a choice whether you go into a period of regression where you go, okay, porn, alcohol, cheesecake, and then you do that for 3 weeks and you go backwards. Or you go onto a stage of plateau. Now, what I love about plateau, and I read a book called Mastery by Robert Greene, potentially. I don't know how that sounds fucking clever. Books and authors, mate.
Robert Greene?
It might not be Robert Greene.
I was going to say, he runs Topshop.
Can't remember. Anyway, the book's called Mastery. I don't think it is by Robert Greene. Anyway, the book's called Mastery. And in Mastery, it talks about how mastery is one long journey from start to finish, okay? So you choose something, you stick at it, you get good at it, you become a master. But it's not all about progress. In fact, a lot of the journey, maybe 70% of the journey, is actually about plateau. Now, plateau basically means to go up and then stay the same. And in staying the same, you get time to rest, you get time to structure, you get time to organize, you get time to think, what is the next level? And you get time to enjoy the fruits of your labor from the previous chaos and productivity. So, yeah, that is part of the plan. That's what you're on at the minute, and that's what I was on not long ago. I'm in a phase of productivity now. Like, I'm 23 days into semen retention. I'm going for 90 days. I'm feeling fired up. I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling ready to move to the next level. I want the next level. I'm ready for it. And that's where I'm at. But we've both been in periods of regression as well. When you go, this is too much, and you fall prey to victimhood.
Yeah.
Which can also be part of the journey, but just don't sit in that for too long.
And just catch yourself, the one thing, if you do fall to regression or you fall to your negative habits and traits that you may have, I think you've just got to give a little bit of gentleness to yourself on if you do slip, if you do fall, however it is, catch it. And just know when you've caught it, if it's the first time down, the third time down, the sixth time down, be proud of yourself when you catch it. And then you've done it, because then you can build up from there. It's when you start feeling bad on that and it perpetuates, because you're like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, I'm so bad. I'm such an idiot. But and it just fall. You can get to a very, very low state if you do fall.
Catch it. Become aware of it. Just go, oh, that's what it is. Oh, there it is again. And once you become aware of it, you decide you don't want it anymore. But also be careful not to enjoy it too much, because I've got into a position where I'm like, no, I'm gonna be this, and I'm gonna be negative, and before you know it, 3-4 weeks later, I'm feeling even worse.
Yeah.
Because I fell into that pattern, which, if you go back and watch the last episode, is kind of what that episode about. Now, just while we're talking about when you are in regression, or you're not feeling motivated, or you are on a plateau and you're feeling, oh, I want to move to the next level, I think this is going to transition nicely into goal setting, because goal setting is simply, it sounds cheesy, and when I say what are my goals, like, I'm not a goal-orientated person. I don't have any goals, because when I think of goals, I think house in the hills, house by the beach. It's like, it doesn't, as much as that'd be nice, it doesn't pull me. So I think goal setting is more about why. It's about what you're doing this for. Like, the thought of me becoming the best coach and people speaking good about me, I love that. Oh, have you seen what Zak's doing? Or one of my clients goes, and oh my God, Zak's this, and Zak's been helping me with that, and Zak's incredible, and Zak's an incredible coach. And when people make results and everyone say that's what fires me up, man. That's what really fires me up, and that's my why. When money isn't my why. When I focus on money, I get depressed and anxious, and I don't want to do my job anymore. I don't want to wake up in the morning. When I focus on providing the best value possible, the best service possible, becoming the best coach possible, I just feel fired up all the time. So think about on this journey that you're on, if you're listening, or for yourself, Mikey, you already know this anyway. Why did you start doing this? And I'm not saying that doing it for material possessions is bad. Like, everyone has their own why. My original why was to get women. My original why was to get rich so that I could buy women. That's pretty disgusting on my mindset now. But back then, that was my why, and it got me to where I am now. So whatever your why is, whether it's a vanity, shallow, materialistic aspect, or a spiritual, trying to, whatever it is, focus on that when you're feeling down, when you're in a regression on a plateau. Go, what is it I want? What really excites me? Oh, okay, women and money. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I think that's incredible because, it comes back to that, be careful what you wish for because you might just get it. And have a why, but, chase that why, and say it was women and vanity and cars and materialism. I suppose for me, I did have that why at one stage, and then I got it, and I realised, oh, this is what it is. And that hollow feeling crept in. And because I put so much time and emphasis and energy into that, it felt so painful. Because I thought, well, I've lost then. I'm out.
But all that, sorry, yeah.
You can change your why. And your why.
All that was for you, mate, Mike. It was just a turning point for you. It was part of the journey. Like that wasn't a wasted part of the journey.
No, not at all.
Without getting to that post, you wouldn't have got to that post and then to that post.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. I loved what you said. So set a why, try it out, get there. If it doesn't feel how you thought it'd feel, it can change. It can build.
It will change.
It matures. It grows.
Yeah, it will change. Trust in the process.
Yeah,
I don't think sometimes it's not even our choice in what our why is. It's like, what is my why? Sometimes it's not even you don't, because if I sit here and think, yeah, it's cars, it's this, it's that, it doesn't. I was given my why. We're all given our why. We just have to listen. That's
really, and again, start to tune into self, live quite righteously, live in a good-hearted manner, wholesome factor of your nature, and your authentic why will come to you.
Yeah.
I suppose when you're creating a saturated or manufactured why is because you're just in the place of thought and you're building it up all the time. This ego's going, I want this because this and this and this. Quieten everything.
Listen to the heart as well.
There you go.
Like you said, the materialistic is you're stuck in thought.
Yeah.
But what excites you?
That's a great word.
It is. What excites you? Like, I'm really excited. Like I've just spoke about, I'm really excited about becoming the best version of myself and a coach. And how you figure that out is go through a week. If you find something that excites you, maybe you give something to somebody as a present and you get all excited and you feel good. Chase that. Chase whatever that is in whatever aspect that is. Or maybe, like, you live on a farm and maybe it's like rearing horses and rearing pigs and bringing up chickens and things like that. And it really excites you. And you're like, yeah, I want to do that. Or maybe it's like, Chloe's going into beauty and she gets really excited now she's in the beauty space. Chase that feeling. Don't worry about the money. That will sort itself out. Just chase the feelings of excitement.
After this, I'm off to the gym. I'm going to go on the treadmill. You might hit me in a minute for that. It'd be a bit boring on there, isn't it?
No, man, I love the treadmill.
Put it on an incline, but I'm going to write a song. I've got like this new beat given to me, and I'm so excited. Honestly, it's in me now. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Fired up. That's
yeah, it really does. It's a big feeling, mate.
That's where we want to be.
Just to touch on
that
plateau. Give me that book because that is so cool.
No, you get your own.
Yeah. I think one thing that we do with feeling uncomfortable and maybe having negative habits is we try and just turn our negative habits into new habits. But I think we can also get a little bit, even though they're better for you, say it's gym, we can overdo anything. Too much cake, you'll get fat. Too much anything, you'll get ill. And for me, that understanding that, yes, find better coping mechanisms. Think of consequence. If it is, say, a heroin addict, for example, and you find, your reward system, you said it on this podcast, what we do is get into these bad places of our mind, find reward systems. If I do this, I get that. And then you go, oh, I'm going to change that reward system because it's better and there's less consequence. That's good and that's true, and I think that's a start. But something you said on understanding that life is grey at times, life is about plateau at times. You don't need to necessarily always have a reward system. It could be for me, like I'll edit for a bit and then I'll check social media. That's a quick, fast reward system, instant gratification, whatever it is. I just really want people to hone in on what you said about having a moment to reflect that it's okay to be in plateau, in consistency, and building up from there, and just enjoying that. The fruits of your labour is a great way of putting it. I think that's important. There's a lot in that, what I just said, to pick apart, but I think the grey in life and the acceptance of the moment sometimes isn't esoteric excitement, wow. That's a really thing to build on, understand, accept. That's really
while you're in plateau as well, is just make sure you get the basics done, or get the stuff. Here's another thing. It's cool to sit on plateau and to sit in some kind of stability and relaxation, but if you stop doing the things that got you to that position, you're soon going to fall. It's like a bird. If a bird flaps its wings, I don't know how a bird, but if a bird flaps its wings really hard, it's going to start taking off. And now, if a bird just kind of wants to hover, I guess it's going to slow its wings down, or slow how many times it flaps or whatever. But it's still going to stay in the same place. If a bird stopped flapping altogether, it's just going to drop. So obviously, you want to make sure that the stuff that you did to get to where you continue doing that consistently, or very, near consistently, and stay around that line. Otherwise you're going to fall, and falling, I tell you what, mate, falling from where you've got to is not nice, because then when you hit the bottom, you feel more uncomfortable than you did when you was at that point before,
mate,
because you've seen a new height. It's like what's that saying? A mind stretched by a new idea or a new experience can never go back to its original form. So like if you see a glory of enlightenment or financial abundance or just enjoyment in life, and then you go back to where you was before, it's going to feel very uncomfortable.
Because you've already seen the other side.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, anywhere else you want to go on this podcast front, mate?
I think we wanted to talk about... No, I mean, we're talking about addiction next, really. You want to go into that a little bit, and I guess is there anything burning in me? I think addiction, yeah. I think we live in a society where I think it's scary that we actually need to address addiction. Addiction to alcohol, addiction to food, addiction to YouTube videos and podcasts and external stimulus, and the fact that we're surrounded by all of the above. I think it's a scary point to be at. Like, we've got to a point where it's in abundance. Access to addiction on the phone, on the porn, on the YouTube is all here. Access to food is very inexpensive. Like, I can go I can go to McDonald's and get a meal for £5. It's quite addictive, that is. It's meant to be addictive. It's designed to be addictive. Whereas, 50 to 100 years ago, they didn't have access to all of these things. And the fact that we're now going through that, it's scary to think where we're going to be in 50 years' time, 100 years' time, especially as technology progresses and becomes built into us. I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be a thing regardless of conspiracies or no conspiracies.
Bad thing, it's a thing.
It's a thing, mate. We're going to become hybrid people. Human version 2 is what they say.
I'd say we pretty much are. It's attached to us.
Not even, mate. This is the beginning. This is the beginning, mate.
But meaning
we are.
That it started and it's began, and we're there. We are a cyborg. It's just not in our bodies yet.
It will be very soon. And when it's, because at the minute we can lock it in a cupboard, or we can throw it down the bottom of the bus, or we can just put it to the side. When it's built into our brains, mate, that's when shit gets scary. I don't know, mate. I don't know. So back to addiction, though. What have you stumbled upon this last few weeks, months about addiction? And
I think it was just that, going back to what I was saying there about acceptance in the moment, and it's not supposed to be this godlike, crazy, wild experience all the time. It's an acceptance in, I don't feel necessarily comfortable here in this moment, but that's a part of how you get over your addictions, rather than just finding constant coping mechanisms and ways of feeling outside of this trigger, because that can be an addiction in itself, just trying to find other sources to get away from something. So basically,
if you're an addictive person, what you're saying there is you can kind of shift your addiction to growth and positivity, and then that become a problem.
Eventually it can, and I think it's these questions I'd like people to really work out and reflect on and ask themselves, sort of, how is it actually affecting me, but truthfully answer that. Have a moment to yourself where you can go, is it, even you mentioned sort of fast food, drugs, sex, porn, but then we can go on to business, gym, all these other stimulants where, you know, is it affecting me on my mental sphere? Is it affecting me financially? Is it affecting me anymore? What about my family? How, if all I can do is train, all I can do is gym every day, and I'm not being there for my loved ones, or my baby's not having their needs met, or whatever that is, you've just got to be really have maybe 3 to 4 to 5 questions that you can ask yourself and answer as honestly and truthfully as you possibly can. And then you can start to know if your addiction has severe or really negative consequence to you and to your close ones. If you genuinely can answer them and go, no, do you know what, I have got an addictive personality, but I seem to be able to conduct my life well enough for my happiness, for their happiness and people around me, then, you know, it's not so bad to have something that you're really into. And it's hard to distinguish against addiction and just having a real thirst for something. But you've just got to be truthful to yourself on, is it a massive detriment or not? And that's what I'd like people to reflect on, because there's been parts of my life where I wasn't truthful to myself. Weed, for example. No, I am fine. It's making me really creative. I know I've not got much money, but, you know, what I do have, I'm fine with. But where could that money be going? How could you be better in yourself? And I wasn't answering the questions with an authentic response. So that is my thought on addiction now, has come to the line of, as well as finding better coping mechanisms, there's probably something a bit more spiritual that you can attain to have more long-lasting effects. And it's, how long's a piece of string? Addiction, to its severity, for people that have like a deep, harsh heroin addiction, can't think of not having sex every 5 minutes, you have to go to find help. Like, a professional has to sort of go intervene, take you down the path, know where your severity marker is, and how painful it's impacting on your life. Yeah,
and I think one question we can all ask, if no matter where we are on that severity scale, is am I enjoying this? Like, is this enjoyable? If you're taking drugs, and when you take the drugs, you're like, I'm not even enjoying this anymore, but you continue to do it, then it's time to get help. Like the same thing with alcohol. If you're having a drink and you're like, I really don't want to be doing this anymore, get help. If you're masturbating and you're feeling shameful and you're not enjoying it no more, and you're feeling tired all the time, get help. It's just asking that question, is this still serving me? Is this serving me, or is this not serving me?
That literally sums it for me. Yeah, I'm really happy with that, mate. And then I'd just like to say to anybody who's got this far in the podcast, you legends, genuinely, me and Zach would be more than happy to answer any questions on that, talk to you about it, our experiences. We've been through it. It's nibbled back at us throughout our lives. We're 27 now. Are you 27, 28?
29, mate. I'm 30 in a month.
Holy moly.
No, 2 months.
Wow, what a guy. What are we doing?
Trying our best, mate. Trying our best. But
honestly, I really admire you for stepping forward, talking to us about it. We'll do our absolute best to help you if you're struggling. That's what I'd like to say.
Yes, guys. And if you'd like to help us out by liking, sharing and subscribing, giving the old algorithm a tickle.
We are addicted to that.
Oh, yeah. It helps to get our message to more people, and it makes us feel good. So if you want to make us feel good, here we are.
Words of wisdom. See you later.